Welcome back, everybody, to TIMBP Live. My goodness, it is good to have you in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is another stream. It's another night. We have made it through. You're here. I'm here. It's good to see you. Good to have you if you're watching on the replay. Thank you so much for checking it out. It's been a busy week. 1 week away from the live show, from the meetup weekend. Getting things ready. Getting mentally prepared. Psyching ourselves up. Tony Bag of Donuts is here. He's going to be there next week as well. Just a reminder for anybody who's here now, for anybody who is watching on the replay as well. Because of the events next week, I will not be live. There will be a new episode, of course, of the podcast, but I will not be live next Thursday evening. We will be kicking off the events of TIMBP weekend. I will be preoccupied otherwise. So, just a programming reminder for everybody. Wish I could be here, but I'm going to be busy hanging out with people who have come all the way to Lexington, Kentucky to see us. So, week after, should be back as long as I'm fully recovered and whatnot. But, regardless, thank you all for being here tonight. WP, old Wilmington Piper, kicking things off for us, saying hit that like. Yes, indeed, do hit that like button if you have not done so yet. And hit the subscribe button too if you haven't. Hit the bell notification so you know when I go live and for when new videos come up on the YouTube channel. And for when I go live every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Miss Stacy, 4-Leaf Whiskey, cheers, since it's Weller and I'm in Ohio. Joining with some Weller Antique 107. That does sound nice. I don't have any Weller nearby. Actually, I do have some Weller 12. Maybe I'll finish some of that off here in a bit. Hello, hello, Tim Bippers. Glad to be back. I miss Ireland, though. What are we drinking? Haven't got anything poured up just yet, but I will be doing so here momentarily. It is good to see you. I'm glad you had a good trip there, Tony. Perry, don't dox me. Is that how it's spelled? Tim Bippers? I believe so. Hello, Swanee. Hope you're having a good week, buddy. Gonna miss you next week, but I understand you've got one of the busiest work schedules I've ever seen. Allergies still have not fully recovered, but you know, that's just how it is. Going to Ireland in September, but Northern Ireland, 9 distilleries in 8 days. That sounds amazing, Stacy. I have yet to be fortunate enough to make it out to Ireland. Really have not been to Europe yet at all. I've been to Mexico and the Caribbean, but I have not traveled elsewhere. I love traveling. I would love to travel further outside of the U.S. Got a pour of a sample of Luxro 115 proof. That sounds nice. Having some AD Rotray blended malt tonight. I do not know what that is. Sounds good, though. Ireland is a good place to start. They have trains and buses most places. That sounds wonderful. I wish the U.S. had better public transport. Just in general. Don't want to get started on that rant. I could go on for a while. But thank you all so much for being here. I think my camera's a little bit askew this evening, because you can't quite see Mr. Snuffleupagus all the way. Or you couldn't. At first, that looks a little bit better. I think we're more on track. I need to figure out what I'm going to be drinking as well. You know what? New Riff Single Barrel sounds good. Still jealous of the new lighting? Thank you, Stacy. The new lighting really has been a it has been a blessing. And it was so easy. It was just getting a couple of nice LED lights off of Amazon. And it made a world of difference. It was crazy. It was crazy. Oh, I forgot to change my banner. Which also reminds me to let you know that if you want to support the show, you can do so by heading to the Stream Elements link in the description below, or by heading to the pinned comment at the top of both the YouTube and the Twitch chats and participating in what we call Snuffy Chats. It is our method of super chatting here on TIMBP Live, because we have not yet reached the qualifications for super chatting on YouTube, and it's the easiest way to support the show in this format. Snuffy Chatting is named after the main man himself, the patron saint of TIMBP Live, Mr. Snuffleupagus back here. Feeds him, supports the show. If you cannot financially support the show during TIMBP Live, just being here is wonderful. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. What's Fantano say? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Am I the only one who watches the needle drop? Probably. He's a music reviewer on YouTube and Twitch, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about. Old Melon. I love him. Got some interesting takes. Does some fun little character work too in some of his. This is a good little tips and bits. The needle drop on YouTube. He does some Twitch streaming as well. Support him over there. He's a good dude. I dig old Anthony Fantano. Mr. WP with the $10 Snuffy Chat. Fantano is a good egg. I like him. I like his mustache. Thank you, WP, for the Snuffy Chat. I appreciate you, buddy. But I did just pour up this here New Riff Single Barrel, distilled July 2018, bottled November 2022, from our friends over at Jackson's Wine and Spirits in Lexington, Kentucky. It is a superior bottle of bourbon. At, I forgot to say the proof, 115.3. I appreciate you as well. I do appreciate you. Appreciates you as well as Wilmington's Pipers. I was going to get it out eventually. I just had to push through it, apparently. Hey, what's up, Dashy? Hey, up, lad. Is this a new Gen Alpha slang? I don't know. Sorry, I forgot to mute the mic. Donnie isn't here, so I have some conversation starters. Swan, hit me with them. You always have good conversation starters, Swan. Where is Donnie? I guess it's early. It's early for Donnie. Is Memphis is on Central Time, isn't it? Making a video right now on an editing platform. Nice. Memphis is on Central Time. There we go. So it's 6 o'clock for him. Gotcha. This new riff pick has always been super jammy for me. I mean, very, very dark oak. Very jammy. And I think the proof is doing a lot of the legwork for what it I'm talking about. How do you feel about previous master distiller from Old Dominic going to Augusta Distilling, Alex Castle being the lady in question? We're actually going to be talking about that here in a bit, Swan. I had that on the on the news docket. So we will be chatting about that, but I think it's preliminarily a very good move for Augusta. So just to preview some of that conversation. Goodbye, lad. Goodbye, Dash. Have a good night, buddy. Good. Best of luck editing. Looking forward to seeing what your video is. I've been meaning to kill my new riff single barrel to make room for the new 8-year No Better Time Than Now. Good call. I like new riff, just can't get it near me. You should absolutely get some if you can. All right, folks. We do have a. Additionally, was Town Branch ahead of their time with everyone leaning into their single malts? They're somewhat of the OG now, even announcing a 15-year today. They announced a 15-year today? Hello again, Whiskey Friends. Hello to you, Jeffrey Wack. Not to mention their single malt picks are 5 to 8 years old in most cases. Swan, why is that not going to my phone? Oh, it was a label. Okay. I cannot for the life of me get my stupid iMessage on my Mac to sync. Oh, there it goes. It's a 15-year single malt. At 100 proof, it's bottled in bond. Okay. Dang. That is interesting. TTB, not announcement. Yeah, there we go. Madness. Yeah, I didn't know about the placings for Matt Madness until Prescription Bourbon messaged me this afternoon. I'm a 3 seed, which is totally fine. I'm surprised I'm even competing, honestly. But for anybody who is on Porter's Patreon, thank you for voting. It is crazy to even be competing this year. If Turkey announced a 15-year bottle-to-bond single malt, we'd be losing our minds. Am I right? Yes, I completely agree with you. I think we would also be losing our minds because we all know that it would be like $300. There's no way that the town branch isn't going to be closer to like 150. And I think you're right, Swan, that Town Branch was ahead of its time and is also extremely undervalued for the products that they're putting out. And I was actually thinking the other day about how I need to revisit what they are making now and just take a swing at getting some of their bourbons and just their whiskey in general. Because there is so much that they have out, and it's been so many years since I've actually tried what they make, and since they've upped their or since they've changed their distilling process, that I don't even think I'm allowed to have an opinion on their whiskey anymore outside of that sherry cask finished malt whiskey that you let me try. That was so amazing. So yeah, it's definitely time for me to like revisit Town Branch. So we'll come back to that eventually. Latest sub, Taste and Sensibility. Thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube. That just got updated on the overlay. That seems to update randomly. Don't know why. Don't know why. But anyway. I need to win the lotto so I can retire and go to all these meetups. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we like hosting it too. It's Memorial Day weekend is a tough weekend for a lot of people. So we might be changing it up next year, because I know it's difficult for a lot of folks. We wanted it to be that weekend because people like to plan stuff on Memorial Day weekend. And we figured that would be a fun thing for people to do. But, you know, traditions are traditions. I don't want to take away from that. So we'll see. Next week's going to be a blast, though. All right, let's get to some news because there is so much to get to. I'm going to take a sip of bourbon. Man, there's so much honey on that, too. I've not actually read the tasting notes on this bottle. Because you know New Riff does tasting notes on their single barrels. Aroma, dried cherries and black tea. Flavor, orange blossom, caramel apple, and the finish is dry spice. I 100% agree with that. It's nice. It's real nice. All right. Kicking things off, I wanted to get the sad news out of the way. I don't know if anybody has seen this just yet, but figured I'd bring it up for everybody's must have 8-year single barrel new riff. Yes. Bring it up in case anybody was behind, but Trey Zoller announced on Instagram yesterday that his father Chet, one of the founders of Jefferson's Bourbon, has unfortunately passed away. He said Chet the Jet Zoller. We lost one of the best, the ultimate gentleman who put a smile on everyone's face that he encountered. We'll have a party in Louisville targeting June 15th. We'll miss you, Poppy. One of the greatest modern bourbon makers, I feel like, trailblazers in the game, unfortunately, leaving us. I don't quite know how old Chet was, but I feel like even when filming was taking place for Neat a few years ago, Chet was already looking a little bit older. So it's possible that he was getting up there. So our thoughts to the Zoller family, of course. But it's always tough losing a loved one. But cheers to the folks over at Jefferson's and the Zollers as well. Interesting bit of news from a winemaker. U.S. wine company Jackson Family Wines has entered the American whiskey category with the launch of its Stone Street, Kentucky straight bourbon. This is a company that's been around since 2005. Its co-proprietor, Christopher Jackson, said, "From racing our first thoroughbred in 2005 to the release of our inaugural bourbon, we will never stop pursuing what is possible while respecting those who have ventured before us." It's a high wheat mash bill and aged for a minimum of 5 years with 131 barrels produced. It's bottled at 94 proof and available across the U.S. with a suggested retail price of $60 a bottle. I feel like I have seen this pop up already. This label looks familiar at the very least, but I don't know much else about it other than the fact that it is a Kentucky bourbon. So we will see. I'm curious about it. So we will all find out together. Every now and then. Good looking bottle indeed. I totally agree, WP. I'm a watch guy. And I do, of course, from time to time like to bring up some apparel stuff. Talked about that Maker's Mark collaboration with the one golf brand last week. So this week, bringing up Jack Daniel's partnering with Original Grain for a new collection of watches. Check these out, see if we can get a closer look. Oh, look at those. Those are nice. Nice balance between classy, kind of rugged as well, I think. I like that there's anywhere between like the understated of it being Jack Daniel's branded and then actually looking like a Jack Daniel's watch in some capacity. But it definitely runs the gamut of like, you could do just about anything with these watches. And they look really good. They look really nice. Let's read a little bit more about them, though. 5 watch designs of course. Looks like they were made from, Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels. It's a limited edition collection. No word on price as far as I can see. Maybe on the Original Grain website. Here we go. Holy moly. Oh, Marie's not happy about it either. Do I want to save up to $100? Maybe. Hey, maybe another Heaven Hill delivery is about to get dropped in the door. I don't know. We'll keep plugging along. Anyway, this one that I said kind of had like the best balance is just over $600. The one that's predominantly Jack Daniel's, $300. So it's kind of like there's quite a few that they're all over the place, but not too bad. Not too bad. I guess I was just kind of hit with the sticker shock on the first one that I saw being $620. But regardless, I'm gonna leave that page up. I might come back to it. Evan Williams this week announced the 2024 class of American-made heroes. Going to be featured on Nationwide bottles. It is mechanical too. You're right. You're right, WP. They're going to be honoring 6 veterans. This is a cool thing. I don't remember exactly how many years they have been doing this. It's always nice to see, because I think that while bourbon is, of course, like inherently just very American as it is nice when American heroes are celebrated in the production of bourbon, of course. And this is no different. I think this is very cool, of course. The Evan Williams 1783 small batch American Hero Edition is bottled at 90 proof. You see, they're going to be featured on these bottles. Evan Williams to date has recognized 57 veteran heroes. Let me pull that up a little bit so you can see it. Through the American Hero Edition bottles, and has donated $600,000 to nonprofits supporting the veteran community across the country. This year marks a special milestone as we introduce 2 distinct bottlings of Evan Williams, each dedicated to the valor, and stories of our American-made heroes, said Molly Vincent, Senior Brand Manager at Evan Williams. With these unique additions, we aim to magnify our foundation's mission, providing a platform for veteran stories, raising awareness for issues they face, and directly supporting the nonprofits that offer crucial help. As an American-made and American-owned brand, these releases symbolize our unwavering commitment to celebrating and aiding our nation's heroes. Here are the 6 veterans: Jamie Paxton from Michigan, Michael Kimona from Maryland, Jace Booth from Virginia, Brooke Jackson Kahn from South Carolina, Stephen Jones from Massachusetts, and Thomas McNamara from Washington. All very cool. Very, very cool. The first head distiller has been named at the Beam Institute for Kentucky Spirits. This is the organization that is affiliated with the University of Kentucky in conjunction with Jim Beam, of course. This is Glenna Joyce. Cheers to them all indeed, Tony. She will oversee all aspects of spirit production at the Institute. Her career began, Glenna Joyce's career began after receiving her undergraduate in biochem from Skidmore College in Saratoga Springs in New York. And a professor referred to Upstate Distilling Company, which was not far from her school. She was there for a couple of years. Looks like she came here after that. Very cool. I didn't realize that there was that much distilling that was taking place at the Beam Institute to where they needed a head distiller. I think it's very cool. It's very interesting too. Excuse me. Because the implication here, I mean, is not just that. Because I mean, they said it themselves. She's going to be overlooking all aspects of spirit production. There seems to be some implication here that there is going to be some kind of like end product that is going to be made, right? I don't know if that's going to be for like a larger consumer market, or if it's just for this, you know, the folks who are going to be attending and learning at the Beam Institute at UK. Regardless, this is one of the, I would say, coolest innovations that comes about for bourbon, or that has come about for bourbon since the boom has really taken off. And you can talk about innovations in product, you can talk about changes in mash bill, hyper aging, you can talk whatever. But the fact that people are taking the level of education to the classroom with bourbon making at such a fundamental level to where they're basically creating an entire college around it, or an entire degree around it. That to me speaks even more highly to the investment in bourbon than any dollar amount you could find on any distillery campus and any amount of rickhouses that are being built or any stills that are being built. It's the fact that there is the commitment to quality for the future of bourbon production. And you know, this is not a I don't think that this is UK or Jim Beam's way of saying, hey, we're trying to teach people how to make Jim Beam bourbon. They're trying to teach people how to make the highest quality bourbon that they can, no matter where they are, you know. And by having somebody, even, you know, I think this also elevates in many ways the master distiller name or head distiller title in ways that really the glorification of it over the past few years haven't, right? By actually putting it in action and showing the future distillers, the future master distillers who are going to be truly creating the best bourbons of tomorrow. This is one of the best ways to go about it. And I think it's an incredible step forward, not just for UK and Beam, but just for bourbon and I couldn't commend them more for what they're doing. I think it's really, really wonderful. So cheers to them for sure. Speaking of new master distillers, as we were talking about a little bit earlier when Swan brought it up, Alex Castle, the former master distiller at Old Dominick, as we talked about a few weeks ago, has just been announced as of yesterday to be the new master distiller at Augusta in Kentucky, and will be starting up the stills on May 28th. This is a very quick turnaround. She will be going from Memphis, Tennessee, back to Kentucky, where she grew up. She was from Burlington, Kentucky. I've got family up in Burlington, so up north here too. And I believe Augusta actually is in northern Kentucky as well, if I'm not mistaken. Just a moment. I'm sorry. Nestled along the Ohio River. Yep, there we go. So I mean, she'll even be close to like family. I mean, this just seems like a natural move. And I'm not saying too that when, maybe she was. I don't want to use the word poached, because I don't think that's the right terminology when, talking about the way that she might have been approached by Augusta necessarily. If she had been approached by Augusta while she was still at Old Dominick, but there is a very high likelihood that they came to her and said, hey, we would love for you to come work for us and be our master distiller, and everything just made sense for her to make that move. Eggs. What are you talking about, eggs, Tony? Did I say something about eggs? Oh, poached eggs. I get you now. But yeah, I think that when you look at the work that she did with Old Dominick, elevating that brand past being, and I say this phrase because I think that, excuse me for just a second. A lot of people are more keen to easily dismiss whiskeys from this region as just whiskeys, but pushing Dominick past being just a Tennessee distillery, and actually giving credence to the whiskeys that they were putting out, which I think she genuinely did. Going back to, again, being a future, kind of like the future of bourbon makers. I think it just goes to show that no matter where somebody like Alex is going to find a home, she's going to succeed. And by coming back home to Kentucky and by going closer to home as well, by nesting at Augusta, I think is just an incredible move. And the one thing that keeps getting brought up, or has been brought up consistently about Augusta, was, well, they don't, the product they've been pumping out under their name is not their own, right? Well, yeah, of course, there's no way. These 8-year-old single barrels, these 13-year-old single barrels, they've not been around for that long. They've been around for a few years, and this is going to be their chance to actually put product into a warehouse that will hopefully live up to these single barrels that everybody has raved about over the past few months. And I think truly she is the best person to head this operation, who is in the field right now. So a huge congratulations to Alex, and I look forward to hopefully chatting with her. It would be great to have her on the podcast, see what her hopes and dreams and aspirations are if we're moving forward with Augusta here soon. Anyway, so we got two big topics that we're going to talk about tonight, right? I broke them up a little bit so that we had some space between the two. So I had some breathing room between the two. The first one. I don't know. Look, I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with this being the quietest, softest announcement in the world, and that it wasn't going to just blow up on the bourbon internet immediately. Like, honestly, it baffled me that it came in an email for the Mellow Moments Club, and like within seconds, it felt like it was in articles, it was on Instagram posts, it was on Twitter, it was just all over the place. And so what I'm talking about is Four Roses introducing 2 new mash bills into their product line, right? The understanding so far, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Let's break it down a little bit first before we go too far. This is from Bourbon Lens. They covered it the other day as well. Four Roses just announced an unexpected move in the bourbon world, known for combining 2 mash bills with 5 proprietary yeast strains to distill and age 10 distinct bourbon recipes. The distillery in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, just notified their Mellow Moments mailing list, which I'm a part of. I'm a Mellow Moments Club member. That's how I knew about it early on. That it would add 2 new mash bills to the mix. Historically, each of Four Roses' 10 bourbon recipes feature their own unique flavor profile, which is evidenced by their extensive single barrel program. So, here we go. New. This is by rye content. 52% corn, 43% rye. 43% rye, 5% malted barley. Now the distillery's highest rye mash bill. Mash bill B, 60% corn, 35% rye, 5% barley. And mash bill E, 75% corn, 20% rye, 5% malted barley. And then the second new one is 85% corn, 10% rye, and 5% malted barley. This is the lowest rye mash bill. Never fear for fans of the brand. Four Roses Distillery confirms that the new mash bills are for new products in the future and are not intended to replace their core products. The timing of this is awkward as they just released the 10 mash bill set last year. To quote Swan, am I right? I don't know if it's awkward. I think it's weird. Because, I mean, like, because now they can release 2 editions of their 10 mash bill sets. Or their 10 recipe sets, right? They can release the mid rye sets, and they can release the high and low rye sets. So it's like double the money for them, right? That's going on the weird, funny sus, yeah. That's going on the assumption, though, that the way that they are going to be releasing these new products is in the same fashion that they release their bourbons right now, which would be taking both of these two mash bills and using all 5 of their proprietary yeast strains with each of them. I don't know, personally, if that is how they are going to be using them. I think logic says, yes, it is. However, that's 20 different recipes that Four Roses is now going to be making. Now, I don't know how many of you have been to Four Roses, right? And just for anybody who's looking for an easier, this was from Bourbon News. This is kind of an easier visualization of what the layout of their new recipes are. So it's 4 roses. There's 4 recipes, blah, 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 blah. Or 4 mash bills. But anyway, they're not exactly like, they're not brimming with empty space. You know what I mean? Like, there's not all of a sudden just been this like surplus of area that they've happened upon with empty rick houses where they can be like, hey, we've doubled the number of bourbons that we're making, the amount of recipes that we have, and we're just going to be filling up extra rick houses with them. So, to me, here's what I'm thinking, okay? Here's where my brain goes with this. You are taking a massive, massive risk, Four Roses, by putting basically, and because what would you be doing here from a logical standpoint, right? You would have to find the space to put all of these barrels of new recipe bourbon somewhere. You would have to find the space to put barrels of new recipe bourbon somewhere. Which means that you would basically have to replace the area that you had old recipe bourbon that is tried and true and loved by a lot of people. And what would you do with it? Are you getting rid of it? Or are you building new rick houses? I don't know the answer to that because we haven't seen a financial plan from them yet. We haven't heard rumors of renovations. We haven't heard rumors of building new rick houses off-site. You know, like we don't know. And so I just don't know what their master plan with this is. It seems so out of left field to me that I don't know where they're going with it. All of that said, I have no reason to distrust them with this kind of innovation. I think it is infinitely exciting with the prospect of the products that they can now create with these 2 extra recipes. Well, technically, I guess if they are including the way that they are traditionally, or they have been traditionally making bourbon, which is with the 5 proprietary yeast strains, right? And these 2 new mash bills. So again, 10 more recipes, doubling it to now 20 recipes. I'm not good with math, and I don't know the exact, is it a permutation? Is it a whatever it is? How many different variations are there that they could conceivably create? What does the annual limited edition small batch look like? What's gonna happen with this? It's so, the bourbon nerd should be excited for this. And I know that I started this out cynical, but I think that cynical is a good place to start from this. And you get that out of the way, and then you go, But it's Four Roses, man. They've had hit after hit after hit after hit after the past few years, and Brent Elliott is just a friggin' genius. Like, he's got what it takes to make something really cool. Tony Bag of Donuts, thank you for the $20 Snuffy Chat, buddy. Appreciate you. I don't see your message coming up for some reason. If you left a message, I don't know. Let me see if I can force the overlay to... $20 for 20 recipes. There we go. Thanks, man. Thanks, man, is what I was trying to say, and it didn't come out right. Appreciate you, buddy. Excuse me. But, I feel like we should be excited for this, especially if we are just Four Roses fans in general. He sure can pick single barrel. Absolutely. And he can blend the heck out of some single barrels, too. This is so cool. I mean, this is just amazing. And I know that there are other brands that are doing even more and are blending more, but Four Roses is so unique, and it's almost like they saw a brand like Bullet take their model and recreate it, and they're like, well, how are we going to do something different? Oh, I know. Let's just reinvent our wheel by adding more spokes to it and having a second wheel in the wheel. Hey, man, I heard you like wheels. We put a wheel on your wheel and made it more wheel. It's a wheel. Anyway, the whole point behind this, I don't know what, it's a lot of speculation right now. But the idea of seeing the innovation, again, that I feel like this is the theme of tonight's live stream, is innovation at an almost like micro level. No, it's micro and macro. But there's so much to be excited about with bourbon right now. And I think that this is just so cool, man. This is awesome. I think Four Roses has every reason to do something like this that should... I'm not saying this right, but we should be excited about it, is what it gets down to. And, I don't know how long this has been cooking. I don't know if they've had these barrels for a while now anyway. They might have. So my postulation about, like, hey, we've got to make space for it could be wrong. They could have just had the barrels for 10 years already. So we'll find out. I don't know. I'd say we're probably about a month away from an official press release. Maybe a couple weeks. I don't know for sure. But in the meantime, it's really exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with 10 new, a potential for 10 new recipes of bourbon with their products. So, in other news, Wild Turkey is putting another expensive rye out. This one's inspired by, this is their Master's Keep. It's a 10-year-old Master's Keep Triumph rye. Inspired, the idea behind it, of course, comes from Eddie Russell. Excuse me for a second. The inspiration comes from his son, Bruce, who is a rye guy, Russell's Rye Guy on Instagram. But this is a $275 rye that they're putting out. the oldest age-stated rye that the distillery has ever released. The other Master's Keep rye expression was Cornerstone, which was released in 2019 and comprised 9 and 11-year-old ryes, but was not age-stated. Most Wild Turkey rye is normally about 4 to 6 years old. Yeah, people have already started, like, reviewing it, too, which is nuts. I don't know about this one. It's crazy that it's just, like, 10-year-old rye. And I'm sure that it's really good. I don't know what all the components of it are. But I am looking forward to finding out if it's good or not. I am, you know, one of the big things that wasn't the Voyage just a 10-year rye? Also, what's up, Joseph Braswell? Why is that picture so crunchy? No, it was bourbon. Yeah, it was bourbon. Anyway, one of the things about doing whiskey reviews, personally at least, is that I don't like to read or watch or listen to a lot of reviews before I have done my own, so that they don't get colored by other people's opinions. So I haven't paid attention to any other reviews yet, just kind of out of hoping that I might get the chance to try this. Stranger things have happened, of course. I'm not saying that I won't be able to, but I'm certainly not, like, holding on to hope by any means. That being said, though, we'll see. We'll certainly see. Am I excited about this? I would say lightly. But I guess I don't really have any reason not to be, other than the fact that it's just $275 for a fancy bottle and a fancy box. But it is what it is, you know? I don't want to keep harping on price because you know. Anyway. We'll see. We'll see when the time comes. I haven't even tried it yet. We'll get there when we get there. Maybe I shouldn't have spoken so soon before I got to talking about price. Rather buy and drink rare breed rye. Yeah, probably. Probably. All right, look. I'm going to be real honest with y'all. I don't even know where to begin on this one, other than to pour some bourbon so we can talk about this bourbon. I poured some Liquor Barn Nulu Wagulu because I feel wooloo, wee woo, diulu. Oh, Tony, do you not even know about the... Have you been gone? Tony, what the heck is that? Have you been... Tony's been missing from the States for so long that he doesn't even know about Weller Millennium. Oh, Tony. Tony Bagadoni. This, my friend, is Weller Millennium. This is the newest ultra premium. Gotta take another mortgage out on your house just so you can afford one measly little bottle of boxed up looking like $1 million. Gotta take you out on the town, buy me dinner first before anything better happens. Bottle of bourbon. Weller Millennium is a celebration of wheat. All right, let's read through some of this because I think it's I think that Whiskey Advocate's going to do a better job of discussing some of the nuance of this than I can, and we'll break down some of what's going on here together. Just 6 months ago, Buffalo Tracin Distillery released a 25-year-old bourbon in the Eagle Rare lineup. Now, the distillery is introducing another luxurious mark to its rank with Weller Millennium, an ultra-aged blend of straight wheated bourbon and straight wheat whiskeys. In the year 2000, right at the start of now master distiller Harlan Wheatley's tenure as a distillery manager, Buffalo Trace began laying down barrels of wheated bourbon and straight wheat whiskey to give a portion of those barrels a long runway for maturation. It was a move that looked to the past and paid homage to Buffalo Trace's heritage and W.L. Weller himself. Weller Millennium is the fruit of those efforts. The 49.5% ABV whiskey, that's 98 proof, 99 proof. Includes barrels from 4 different years, one of which was distilled in 2000, and the other 3 distilled in 2003, 5, and 6, making the youngest whiskey in the blend 18 years old. The exact breakdown of vintages in the blend is as follows: 3% distilled in 2000, 50% in 2003, 40% in 2005, and 7% distilled in 2006. The nose is a symphony of dried fruit, vanilla sweetness, and heath bar. The creamy palate. Now, I know I just said that I don't typically like reading, listening to, or watching reviews before I have tasted a particular whiskey myself. I would like to bring your attention to the price point here of $7,500. Yeah, I'm never going to taste this one. If I do, I'm not going to remember these tasting notes. The creamy palate is a splendid is a splendid continuation of these notes, and it also evokes Charleston Chew and caramel dipped apples. For an already refined bourbon label, this is certainly a pinnacle of flavor. If you're able to get your hands on Millennium when it debuts in June, excuse me, it'll cost you a cool $7,500. As with the 25-year-old Eagle Rare, it's an extremely limited release, though it will be available nationally, Herbert cited, and in some global markets. The whiskey is packaged in a crystal decanter that comes with a bespoke crystal topper that is hand-etched with W.L. Weller's W stamp of quality. Fancy Franchi, hello, evening everyone. Cheers, Perry. Cheers to you too. Good to see you. Typically, Weller releases are all wheated bourbons, making Millennium an outlier simply by the wheat whiskey included in the blend. It's also among the oldest Weller whiskeys ever released. The last ultra-aged release, a 19-year-old William LaRue Weller, that was distilled at the Old Stitzel Weller Distillery in 1982 and appeared in 2001. $7,500 for whiskey. Not even like auction whiskey, not for any kind of like benefit, not going to support a charity. $7,500 for a bottle of whiskey to $7,500 for a bottle of whiskey. I don't know what else to say, man. It's nuts. And the fact that, like, I know I've done this song and dance before. I know I've talked about this. Typically, all Weller are weeded. Did it say that? Weller releases are all wheated bourbons, making Millennium an outlier simply by the wheat whiskey included in the blend. Did it specify which one is a wheat whiskey? No, it didn't even say which one is the wheat whiskey. Isn't that weird? I didn't miss anything, did I? It seems like it's trying... Should have just dropped the all. Yeah, it... I'm trying to... Okay, here's what I'm... Here's where I am and here's what I am inferring from this. And see if you are gathering something different than I am from this particular sentence, let me know. But this is the only way that I am able to discern where the wheat whiskey is in this blend as opposed to the wheated bourbon. Okay? The distillery is introducing another luxurious mark to its ranks with Weller Millennium, an ultra-aged blend of straight wheated bourbon, singular, and straight wheat whiskeys, plural, right? That, to me, implies that the bourbon... but we still don't know which one is the bourbon! Was it the one from 2000? Was it the one from 2003, 05, 06? We don't know. Like, they specifically keep grouping 03, 05, and 06 on their own and the 2000 on its own. And that's why I was, like, logically going, oh, the bourbon is the one from 2000 and the other three are the wheat whiskeys. But I don't have anything to go off of there. It's so confusing. I don't know. It's so annoying that it's not clear for $7,500, and they're not being... Another bottle to sit in Dwayne Poor's $10 million bunker. Maybe Jason C will get to taste it. Maybe Jason C should sneak a sample and send me some. I don't know. Yeah. I just... I think increasingly, when I ask the question, who is this for? The answer just becomes not me. You know what I mean? And it's not even a like, no, I just wanted everything to be for me. It's never that. The answer, I never want the answer to be, I want every bottle of whiskey to be for me. It's like, it's less of who is this for and why is it for the people who are willing to spend $7,500 of their money on this. What are they going to do with it afterwards? Are they going to drink it? Are they going to resell it? Is it going to sit in a closet forever? Are they going to use it for charity? It baffles me at all that it would ever fetch this amount of money. And I don't know. I think it's crazy that there's not more clarity, at least from this release, this press release. And let me go to my. Yeah. Okay. So this was from the email that I got sent. This morning. Because at this point, I just want to know which part of it. Which part of it is bourbon and which part of it is wheat whiskey. Oh, okay. The box. Hey, look. Where did I see this? An illuminated display. At least the box is illuminated. The implication still seems to be twinkle lights. The implication still seems to be that the bourbon was made in 2000 and the wheat whiskeys were made in 03, 05, and 06. By the transitive property, I guess. But it's still not, like, clear. And I think I'm using too much assumption. It's so weird, dude. Yeah, some of legal drinking age. Good lord. That is such an ugly, like... I don't know. I'm... Where is it? Where did the article go? Here it is. It's just that over opulence of it all, I think, more than anything, that is crazy to me. The fact that it is, again, $7,500 for one bottle, and it's not even clear on what the actual breakdown of it is. And you know what, Joe? You're right. You know what I think? I think it doesn't friggin' matter. You're 100% right. We're going to move on from there. I'm going to stop getting all twisted up about it. I was going to talk about that. I didn't want to talk about that anymore. You'd bottle chug it, don't lie. Bill Robarge, just good to see you. Hanging with Bill, Mr. Beer Lovers, Wisconsin himself. Hope you're doing well, buddy. If anybody gets a bottle of the Weller Millennium and just send me a picture of it. I just want to know I just want to see that it actually exists. I don't want to look at it anymore. Heaven Hill, Bill, it's good to see you, by the way. I meant to say that. I'm excited to see you next week. Heaven Hill has announced the spring 2024 edition of the Old Fitz Bottled and Bond bourbon. William Tinhave, it is good to see you in the chat. Sounds a lot like reject WLW barrels that they want to cash in on. At least one. And then the rest are wheat whiskeys. I wouldn't bottle chug it, but I'd red solo cup it. I would love to see that. I may or may not be drunk. Bill? I am not even close to being drunk. And I don't feel like it tonight. But you do you, brother. It's good to see you. If anyone even gets a Daniel Weller, it's a friggin' miracle. I've never seen an actual bottle of Daniel Weller, nor have I seen like somebody take a picture of it. But I know that David Levine has gotten to try it. I feel like I've tried Daniel Weller, but I cannot for the life of me remember whether or not for sure I actually have. Thrasher. Cheers, Perry. Cheers to you, brother. Thanks for getting me into Matt Madness this year. I don't know when I'm competing, but thanks for the vote. I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. I'll go back through this. I made a lot of funny comments. I'm going to say them again. Eric Church's new release. Country musician. Whiskey Gypsy Legacy Batch 2. Not sure if we're even supposed to say Gypsy anymore. I don't know. Probably not supposed to. $200 a bottle. It's crazy. 114 proof. We here again? Yeah, it happens once a stream, Bill. I'm sorry. I said to myself I wasn't going to do it. Here we are. It's crazy. 60% 11-year-old Tennessee corn whiskey. 36% 18-year-old rye finished in port Spanish vermouth or sherry barrels for 6 months from Canada. Why couldn't they have said and sherry barrels? And, or? What do you mean, or? You going to get, like, a friggin', like, crapshoot in each bottle? I don't know, man. Headphones? I got a headphone in, man. It's just to monitor the music levels. See, that's what I'm saying. What do you mean, or? Port, Spanish, or sherry barrels? Friggin', what do you mean, or? Awarded double gold at San Francisco. I just thought you were ignoring us. No, I was just talking. I was having my own podcast, okay? Double gold before the products even come out. That's crazy. I also was saying Eric Church could come on the podcast, but people don't like it when we don't interview non-whiskey people. He's a musician, so I don't know. We'll talk whiskey and not podcast or not music, so or not at all. The invitation stands. My dad saw Eric Church at a music store once. He didn't know who he was. But there was a film crew with him or something. I don't remember the story. Bardstown Bourbon Company Collaborative Series pushes new boundaries. Gary Franchi. Hello, Gary. I would read or as they split up the whiskey and aged it separately versus moving it all from one to the next. But why wouldn't it still be and, though? Why wouldn't it still be and? Like, surely they would, like, have it all together. Surely they would have it all, because it would go into the final blend all at once, right? Same with the Woodinville 8-year double gold, and it's not quite out yet. This is your Bourbon Podcast. Interview whoever you want. I'd love to hear it. Thanks, Tony. Anyway, here's a dragon fruit. I've never had a dragon fruit before. Apparently, it just tastes like water. Oh, boy. $160 a bottle. That's not what I whole boyed about. It was about 6 different things in here. 9-year Indiana rye. Finished 18 months in Amaret Indian single malt barrels. 8-year Indiana rye. Finished 18 months in Amaret Indian single malt barrels. 14-year Kentucky bourbon. 10-year Kentucky bourbon. 11-year Kentucky bourbon. 110 proof. Golly. I've got to try this. I'm curious. I got no idea. I don't know. I wish that Bardstown Bourbon Company bottles were not so daggum expensive. I would buy every single one of them. But holy crap. Everything is expensive. I appreciate the support for interviewing whoever we want to. It's just when we did the survey, there were so many people who said they don't like it when we interview non-bourbon people. Like, that was one of the most outspoken answers on the survey. That it was like, well, because there are so many people I want to interview that it almost makes me want to start another podcast just so I can interview them. But I have a podcast already where I like interviewing people. I don't know. It's a conversation for a different time. We'll see. I got to get numbers up first. First and foremost. We had a really good day today, but it was a lot of people who were downloading old episodes of the podcast, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that. But again, thank you to everybody who filled out the survey. It was very cool of you, and gave like good, honest feedback. Really, really appreciated it. Michter's 10 rye is coming out soon. 92.8 proof, of course. Last year's was spectacular. Oh, apparently the Academy of Country Music Awards is going on right now. And marijuana is trending in the U.S. Anyway, I really loved last year's 10-year rye. So, Chapter 8 of Little Book has been announced. This one sounds really interesting to me. 150 a bottle, 4 to 18 years old, 118.2 proof. It's a blend of 7 whiskeys, 18-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey high rye. Oh. 11-year Kentucky straight rye, 7-year Kentucky malt, 5-year Kentucky rye, 5-year Kentucky rye, 5-year Kentucky rye, and 4-year Kentucky rye. I didn't go through the Kentucky family style char 4 for the 5. It's too much, man. I'm excited for this one, man. It's called Path Not Taken. Looks cool. Little Book's been hitting recently. I think it had such a rocky start at first, and they've really had some solid releases as of late. 13th Colony, marijuana. You mean that devil's lettuce? Up with hope, down with dope. Gotta get right with God. Get that devil's lettuce out of your body, boy. 13th Colony introduces a new cast-strength Southern bourbon. Look at this crunchy picture. Why is it so pixely? I don't understand. 120.6 proof, 70% corn, 21% rye, and 9% malted barley. But it's Georgia style. Georgia straight bourbon whiskey. This mash bill seems awfully familiar for it being Georgia straight bourbon whiskey. 13th Colony. Got some splaining to do. 5 to 6 years old, $90 a bottle. It's available now. Let's see if it's sold out yet. Ooh, their other bottles are not pretty. Yes, I'm over 20. Oh my gosh, I'm not going through this. Anyway, I think it's sold out, but everybody seemed to love last year's release. I never got to try it. But yeah, apparently some bottles were going on secondary for $1,000. Have you all seen, I don't know how active you all are on, also Sugar Kitty's here. I did not say hello to Sugar Kitty. I'm very sorry. But meow, 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 meow. Anyway, I don't know if y'all have seen or not, or how active you are on secondary. I've got local groups that I pop in and out of. Friggin' Jack Daniels Coy Hill is fetching, especially like the hazmat barrels, single barrels, are fetching $1,000 a bottle these days. It is nuts that those are going for that much anymore. It's crazy. Anyway, we got some new labels. Rare character limited release, batch 1, straight rye, 120.8 proof, maybe, coming out this year. Interested in that. Probably blended by our buddy, My Daily Bourbon, Mr. Chad himself. Looking like one of these, what's it, like little 375 bottles from Woodford. Blended malt sherry cask. Those 375 bottles, which one? You talking about the Woodford? How'd you jump ahead of me? So I feel like you sent that as soon as I was saying it. That was crazy, Tony. That freaked me out. That made my head spin for a second. Oh, the Coy Hills. No. No, these are like the Oh, you know what? I honestly don't know if they are the 375s. I was here thinking they were the full 750s. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But anyway, the new Woodford Distillery Series blended malt sherry cask finish. I think this is just their bourbon, too. Oh no, blended malt sherry cask. Sorry. Woo, buddy. Literacy. Get some. And then last but not least, I'm really excited for this. Some people were saying on online that they weren't, but I'm very, very excited for this. Papa Ritter's in the chat. I may be wrong. I may be crazy. Andrew West. Sorry I fell behind the stream and jumped forward to now, but what if it was Spanish PX and it autocorrected to Spanish or cherry? Or sherry. Oh, you might be right, Andrew. You might be exactly right on that. Eric Church, where is it? Spanish Vermouth PX sherry barrels? No, I don't think that. No, I'm not sure about that. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Coy Hill at 1,000. I let mine go for 300 for that first release. Hey, you could have held on to it for, half a mortgage payment? I don't know. What is Coy Hill generally going for these days? I saw one recently, but don't know if it was outrageously priced or downright cheap. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. All I've seen is like the secondary price of $1,000. I've seen it recently for 400. Was that like in a store? Because if it's in a store for 400, it might be a steal. Especially if it's going for $1,000 on secondary. Anyway. Literacy sounded like what I just cleaned out for the cats this morning. Yeah, I get that. Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey. This is the new Parker's Heritage Collection. I'm really excited for this. Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey finished in reconstructed heavy toast cognac barrels. 14 years old, barrel finished, 107 proof. I think this is super cool, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I know that we're gonna have a media sample later in the year. A couple of years ago, Parker's Heritage Double Barrel Blend. It was my bourbon of the year. And I don't know how this is going to do. I mean, I've never had a single malt win bourbon of the year, whiskey of the year. So we'll see. We'll see. But we will find out together how that's gonna fare. I don't have a review tonight, but I'm not quite done yet. We're gonna do something different. We're gonna do something fun. I had the folks at Oak and Eden reach out. Brian Allred? What the crap? It is so good to see you in the chat. A Jack for 1K, and to think that I just went for a Booker's 25th for 1K, I think I got a steal for that. No Perry Pours for that at all. He lives indeed. My goodness gracious, it is so good to see you, my friend. I hope you have been well. Holy Moses, it's good to see you. It has been so long. It's nice to have a little check-in every now and then. But my word. Been well, good to see you too. It's good to hear. It's very, very good to hear. Hey, that Booker's 25th. I think I've had it maybe once. Sorry, my face keeps getting covered up, but heck of a bottle. See a lot of the same faces. Yeah, there's still quite a few folks who have hung around, and plenty of new ones too. It's wild. It's wild. My goodness, what a spectacular surprise tonight. Goodness gracious. You know what the funny thing is, Brian, I was and this goes to show how little I smoke cigars, but how good and there's Brian Brennicky too. Look at that. How little I smoke cigars these days, but how good a care I take care of my humidor. I was going through my my humidor the other day, and happened upon some of the cigars you gifted me a few years back, and got a little sentimental. It was nice. Just the lurkin'? Nothing wrong with that. I made a Manhattan with my new riff rye. I got a whole kit with the purchase of Powers Irish Rye yesterday, vermouth and cherries included. Nice. Man, all right. So, like I said, we're not done just yet. Get an email from the folks over at Oak and Eden, who asked about having somebody from their company on. And also getting some of their new product in hand to review, but also seeing if we wanted to potentially create something from their program to try on that episode. So I figured it would be fun to create it with you all on stream, because I started creating it this afternoon and I was like, this is no fun, and I didn't know what would be good. So this Amberana, this bourbon and Amberana finish is what we're gonna try eventually. I also wanted to just kind of look through their products with you all. I don't know how much you all have tried from Oak and Eden, if anything at all. See if there was anything that I should ask for. There was one in particular. Where is it? It might be, hold on. I think it was the wheat and honey. I definitely wanted to try the wheat and honey. I thought Eric would really like that. So we're going to have the Amberana. Pop Ritter's going to drop. Love y'all. Hope to see some of you next week. Pop Ritter. Talk to you later. Love you, buddy. Have a good night. See you real soon. But this is a wheated bourbon with an American oak spire, and it's infused with honey. So 2 bourbons at least. I was kind of thinking, maybe one more. And then do the build a bourbon or build a bottle. I remember the Oak and Eden guys from the first Whiskey Tribe meetup. Super cool guys. Glad they've done well. Yeah, I've never tried them before, of course, because Eden is my daughter's name. I'm like, I've got to try something from them. So they've got something as simple as bourbon and spire. Bourbon is pretty perfect. Blah, 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 blah. And they just add a spire of American oak. I've always avoided it because I thought it was a little gimmicky with the spiral inside the bottle. Is it worth a buy? I don't know. I have no idea. That's kind of the purpose of doing this with the podcast and everything, and giving it a shot and interviewing somebody from the company. So there's the wheated bourbon with the spire, and it's a French oak one as well. I'm interested in the Amberana and honey. I always like to see what people are doing with honey and see if they can get it right. I completely agree. So bourbon and spire, bourbon whiskey with the American oak, wheat with the French oak, 4-grain in American oak. I'm not a big 4-grain guy, but maybe rye in American oak would be a good one with, since we've got the maybe the rye would be a good one to ask for, along with the Amberana and the honey. Let's put a pin in that. I want to go back to the infused ones. Wheat and strawberry. That sounds nuts. Wheat and strawberry is the sweetest expression of whiskey drinking. We begin the process with a wheated bourbon made from 51% corn, 45% wheat, 40% malt, then aged in charred American white oak barrels. After aging, we add a twist, an American oak spire, seasoned, toasted, and infused with strawberry extract, imparting sweet, smooth flavors and notes of honey, candied fruits, and caramelized sugar. Personally, I don't really care for the fact it's that sweet. And rye and raspberry, an intentional dance between spicy and sweet. Also 90 proof, 4-grain and maple. Bourbon and brew. The bourbon and brew is their bourbon and cold brew. Begin the process with a bourbon made from 60% corn, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley, then bourbon aged and blah blah blah. The twist is French oak spire, seasoned, toasted, and infused with cold brew coffee, and imparting rich. I think I'm done with Oak and Eden. That's really funny. It's going really off the rails really quickly. And the funny thing is, okay, bourbon and vine. It's a Cabernet Sauvignon. Bourbon and cranberry. Oh my gosh. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. So I think we should go with the Amberana, which we're already being sent, this wheat and honey, and then the rye Inspire. And then we try to build one together. Because I think this is going to be the most interesting one. Perry, I also wanted to tell you, got a bottle of Viking blood. Very good, but it's a one pour type of thing. The sweetness is a bit much. I disagree, but I do love the fact that you got one at all. Okay. So I'm going with bourbon on the one we build. Okay. I'm going with 114 proof because I gotta go with the higher proof. I think it's not, if we're asking them to build one, I don't see any reason for us to go with anything lower. Oh, they can only do one of the flavors. Bro, these flavors are crazy. So we could do a bourbon. This is insane. Okay. I'm going to have to run this by Eric too. But let's do this because Eric wouldn't know about this until we record tomorrow. Okay? First of all, bourbon at 114 proof. I think that's a good place to start. Can we agree on that? Can we come to a general consensus that bourbon at 114 proof is a good place to start? Can we agree on that, chat? Simple yes or no. Agree. We've got one agree. So I'm at least going here. So the Spire, when I talked to them, they claim that after 6 weeks, there's no more flavor to infuse based on the size of the Spire. That is so funny. Now, I like the idea because I think that the American oak is just more of the same, personally. I like the idea of introducing the French oak in this scenario. But I'm going to leave it up to you all. Do you think we should go with the American oak or the French oak? I'm willing to hear both sides. I'm willing to hear arguments for one or the other. I do not have a preference. Well, I have a preference, but I'm not committed to the French oak at this moment. Froke. Froke sounds like the best. Froke sounds like an incredible, like, it sounds like some kind of band you would have followed in college just for a little bit. And they would have been just trippy enough. French oak for something a little different, I agree. That Spire isn't that large and it's not charred through at some point. It's just going to saturate and be done. True. Frenchy French says European and sophisticated. All right, French oak it is. All right, so we only get one of these flavors. I don't want to go Spire only. I really don't want to go Spire only. We could go coffee. honey. Hungarian oak is the way to go. We'll let, when I interview Oak and Eden, I will let them know that I'll submit it to the suggestion box. As long as there's no poop for Eric. I agree. I'm going to say not just Spire only. I'm going to say not honey, since we've already got one honey. And we also have one that's just Spire only already. So we could go coffee. We could go vanilla. We could go maple syrup, strawberry, peach, pineapple, orange, blackberry, Cabernet, or port wine. Now we could, I was going to be nice and like clear it with Eric first, but we could just not clear it with Eric. Because he wouldn't know, right? He wouldn't know until just pour your own flavoring into the bottle. Yeah, we're going to throw some cough syrup in here. Or some like Hershey's cherry syrup. Instinctively, I would go like Cabernet or port wine. And I know that like all of these have been done before, right? There's only so many permutations of this. Port wine is like where I'm leaning for sure. But I think that like, okay, what are we eliminating? I think we should eliminate at least one of these so far. There is one that is sticking out to me that we should eliminate right away. Don't kill Eric. I won't kill Eric, Emily. It's good to see you. There's one that does not make sense to me that we should eliminate. It's on screen right now. Eliminate pineapple. Emily says pineapple. Do we have any other votes? I'm not opposed to eliminating pineapple, but that was not my immediate... how about just more bourbon? That's not a bad idea either, Brian. Kill pineapple? We have 2 votes to kill pineapple. I do kind of have a guilty pleasure of peach crown and tea over ice. No vanilla, no pineapple. Okay, so we can go ahead. We'll go ahead and take vanilla and pineapple out. Pineapple I was curious about just because of how off the wall it would have been. Okay. Been lurking while making dinner. That's nothing wrong with that. Apple pine. All right, so we're going to take vanilla, peach, and pineapple off of the table. Which currently means we've got coffee, maple syrup, strawberry, orange, port wine, Cabernet, and blackberry. Vanilla already shows up in bourbon. That's true. We've got 7 options left at the moment. I was on a phone call and missed all these choices. That's all right, Tony. We still got 7 choices left. Okay, so I've let you all take a few away. I know that I took 2 away already. I'm going to go ahead and take strawberry away. I think strawberry. Coffee infused sounds interesting. Coffee is in like my top 3 right now for us to experiment with. Cab is in my contenders as well. I think strawberry needs to go. I'm taking strawberry out of the running. Where's the blue cheese? I could kill some blue cheese right now. I've been in an olive mood recently. I don't know why. Olives and high proof bourbon are an amazing combination. Early tips and bits. Before we record tomorrow. Early tips and bits. I love the idea of coffee, but I'm biased AF. Fair enough. I had a great maple finish at Starlight a few weeks ago. Oh, okay. Okay, so maple would be... I'm not opposed to maple. I feel like we've had a lot of maple finishes somewhat recently. I think coffee would be awesome. Why don't we do this? Between Cabernet and port wine, which one should we eliminate? Because we should only have... I feel like it would be easier to eliminate one of the two wines than it would be to have both of them in the running. Am I still doing sample passes? What do you mean, Brian? Cab doesn't usually work that well. Eliminate cab, keep port. All right, let's keep port then. When you say sample passes, Brian, do you mean like through the Patreon? I haven't done it in a while, but I'm not opposed to doing it again. It's something that I've kind of been meaning to pick back up again. If you wanted something potentially good and different, I'd go with coffee. If you wanted to go with something completely different, wacky, and potentially bad, I'd change my vote and go with pineapple. I kind of was thinking the same thing. I'm on the coffee train anyway. Okay, so I think our top three right now are port wine, maple, and coffee. That's what it sounds like right now. I think orange makes sense, but is overdone. Blackberry is a little too out there. I think blackberry is like the forgotten child right now. So we're between port wine, maple syrup, and coffee. And it seems like coffee is kind of taking the lead, but I also don't think that port wine is too far behind. But I am a big coffee person. I don't know. What do y'all think? Between coffee, maple, syrup, and port wine, where should we go with this? Oh, you're talking about like our sample train. Yeah, Brian, we haven't done the sample train in so long. That died with me at one point, too. We should totally do a sample train again. I'm more responsible these days, so. Again, it doesn't matter because I'm never going to drink it. Yeah, Joe, that's fair. Brian, again, I'm more responsible these days, and I would love to do a sample train. We can talk about it in a group chat or something. Let's figure that out. That'd be great. All right, so I see one vote for coffee. Tony votes coffee. We got one vote for port wine. Joseph Brazo votes nobody because he's a centrist. Or he's so far out of the running that he doesn't get a coffee vote. I'm kind of feeling like coffee is the move here. I think we go coffee. I think we got to go coffee. I think this is the one. I think the coffee makes the most sense for us and is going to be the one that is the weirdest. French oak and coffee sounds really cool. All right. That's going to be the one that we'll see. Well, if we can manage to get all of this for this episode, we'll see what we can do. Port with the French oak. Oh, that would be good too. Oh. Brian Bernicke with the $10 snuffy chat. This is not a bribe for coffee, maybe. Oh my goodness. My wife manages to count my bottles, so I've had to be more responsible too, except for the Booker's and the Four Roses 30th. Hey, Four Roses 130th is amazing. That is an incredible bottle. So hopefully she gives you a pass, at least. This is my vote for this at the moment. I still feel like the French oak and the port wine is a great move too. Fancy Franchi. Does that change the price at all? No, it doesn't. I mean, not that we're paying for it. I think it would be a nice little gift from them. But I don't even know if we would get like a full bottle. It would probably be just like a sample bottle or whatever. But anyway. Daniel Sutherland, what's up, man? Cheers, guys. Cheers to you too, buddy. Whew. Coffee for the win. I kind of feel that way too. But I'm okay with the coffee. If we wind up with like a full bottle of it, I'll find some way to get like samples of it out too, if I can. But I do believe that's about it for this stream. This has been fun. This has been a long stream. It's been good chatting with you folks. It's been nice nice having a chill time hanging out. Didn't get too wild and crazy. But it's what we need sometimes. Sometimes we just need a good hangout. I love y'all. I'm sorry I won't be streaming next week, but we will be entertaining you fine folks who are attending TIMBP weekend and showing up for the live show as well. If you do need tickets for those, stop by the after party tonight. If I am able to, I will do so. I make no promises. But if I am able to, I will be sure to. But again, that is all that I got for you. I will not see you next week. I will see you the week after, unless you are coming to the live show and everything. If you need tickets for the live show, they're in the description below. All good franchises. I will miss seeing you guys. Love you guys too. Get tickets in the description if you need it. They're also on Eventbrite. Just search for This My Bourbon Podcast, or TIMBP Live, or TIMBP Weekend, or whatever. But you guys are the best. See you real soon. Until then, though, I'm Perry. And this is TIMBP Live. Bye.